Suck my.
What is up, Wise Take Nation?
Logging off.
What'd you say?
Nothing. Go ahead.
And you know I love a big dick.
Oh.
That was weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome. What's up, nation? It's your boy BrewMedic47 here, as always, with my main dude, Shocky at Clint Petrikis. That's gonna be my thing. I'm gonna continue to pronounce your name wrong.
Yep.
Welcome everyone to the Wise Take PGA DFS Wise stream on this Tuesday night. I'm coming to you live from work again. So just like the other day, 2 weeks ago, if I get a call, I gotta run. But I'll try to send Shocky my stuff, and maybe he'll read it, or maybe he won't. Who knows?
Hey, definitely not reading it now.
All right. Well, thanks. All right. But as always, all of our stuff can be found on wisetake.com. Pick up a day pass, pick up a membership, and see our goodness. This week, we're going to be talking about the Workday Charity Open, which is a new event on tour. Probably the first and only time it's going to be played ever.
Only time because it should be the John Deere.
Yeah, it was supposed to be the John Deere, but Iowa's a bunch of...
Illinois.
Iowa.
Illinois.
Why did I think the John Deere Classic was in Iowa?
I don't know if any classics hold in Iowa.
Why did I think it was in Iowa?
Silvis, Illinois. Yeah, I knew it was.
Why did I think that?
There's no PGA Tour event in Iowa.
Yeah, that would make sense. That would make a lot of sense. I don't know why. For some reason, I thought it's the breadbasket of America, I guess. I don't know. For some reason, I thought it was in, like, Iowa or, I don't know. Maybe it was farming. It's probably just farming. That's probably why I made the connection between, like, John Deere tractors and farming. Who knows? Oh, well. I digress. Moving on. Yeah, so the John Deere got canceled. And they created this event out of thin air, since they're going to be playing here next week anyways, which is another
Memorial.
For the Memorial, which is like a pretty significant tournament every year. So we have this event, the Memorial Junior, the Workday Charity Open. So, yeah, I guess we'll touch on last week real quick. Mr. Shocky, how'd you do? More dollar signs?
No. Last week, the streak ended.
Oh, boy. Well, you can only run hot for so long. What did it for you? Was it not having enough Bryson?
Yeah, only one. But not even the Bryson. Like, the fate of Bryson was like, okay, as long as he doesn't win, he can't hurt you. Well,
And one.
then he can't miss a putt. It was just more of my lower dollar guys, my low 7K guys. The 7K range was disaster. Tringali did fine as one of my favorite. It was just all my lower price guys. Really, no one in the high price range killed me. It was just trying to get through the cut. Hubbard did good. Hubbard was almost all the good plays, but other than that, nothing special for me.
Who did good? What'd you say? What did good?
Hubbard. He did good for his price.
Mother Hubbard. We were both on him. Yeah, I had cash hit. Again, it was a bubble week, but I wound up on the right side of the bubble. Even with 4 of 6, you know, we still had a decent amount of carnage, but nothing like the week before. I think 4 of 6 and better was closer to like 50 to 60% of cash lineups, whereas like last week was like 30%. So 4 of 6 wasn't as much of an auto cash this past week as it was the week before. But yeah, I had Bazundenhout. He missed the cut for me.
Oh, that's who it was. Yeah, I can. Yep, him.
Yep, Bazundenhout missed the cut for me in cash, and I had another missed cut. I think they both missed the cut at like -1. So I'm pulling it up right now because I'm curious. Brian Harmon.
Yep.
So. Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't have Bazundenhout in cash. It was Sabatini. Sabatini was the one who got it.
That was more of a disaster.
Yeah, oh my God, +4 on the first day. I was like, well, this was short-lived. He was pretty, I believe he was pretty high owned in cash too. based off his course history, but 20%, nothing spectacular. But yeah, Kisner really carried me. Kisner was the main anchor of my cash lineup. I'm finishing third. So I broke even because cash hit. GPP didn't do anything. Again, I'm still waiting for something decent to happen in GPP. I'm only playing 3 lineups a week, so 3 GPP lineups. So it's it's gonna be hit or miss. I was was it this week where like on Thursday at like 3 hours in the event I was like in third place in the PME. I'm pretty sure it was.
I don't know who someone said it, or you didn't screenshot this time, but someone mentioned it. So just no one look at your lineups for the first day.
Yeah.
So that way they can do something.
Like, well, they're gonna be dead now. I think it was OV. I think he mentioned it, but I was like, oh yeah, look at that. And of course the lineup wound up not cashing.
I don't look. I looked for percentages just to see, and then I don't look at it till the cut just to see everything.
Yeah, exactly. So if Webb could have held on, if Webb could have made a run, it could have done something. But Webb couldn't putt on the weekend, so apparently he forgot how to putt. Which these things happen. So whatever. On to this week. So, anything else you want to mention? Anything else you want to talk about before I talk about?
No, just go real quick. So the 3M is around this time last year. It'll be played in a few weeks, but the 3M is around this time. Wolf, if you remember, it was Wolf and DeChambeau going at it at the same time last year. Mm-hmm. Well, DeChambeau took a stroke lead going to the final hole, which is a par 5 and the 18th. And then Wolf makes a 20-foot eagle putt to beat him by 1. And then DeChambeau gets his revenge this year.
Yep. Yeah, that was fun. I feel like I remember looking at Matt Wolf last week and being like, he's so fucking cheap and he has so much upside.
Yeah, but it's just like his irons were terrible. He was coming in bad form. I get it because of the talent. One fun fact, though, say this: through 3 rounds of play, Matthew Wolf had made 66% of his birdie opportunities. The tour average is 30%.
Wow! So you
could see the regression happened on the final day. So he was playing out of his mind. He just couldn't miss anything, and then the regression happened on the worst day.
Water always finds its level, as we say.
Just thought I wanted to mention that because I thought that was a fun fact of Matthew Wolf's.
I love it. So, all right, so I will get into the course. This is going to sound very similar to what I say next week, but we're going to roll with it because, again, I think this is the first time, at least as far as I can remember, that we had events played at the same course.
It's first time ever. Back-to-back weeks. For back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, exactly. We've had years where it's been like Pebble Beach and then like 2 years ago, right? Or last year, the U.S. Open was played at Pebble Beach, but back-to-back weeks.
Not bad.
So, so welcome one and all to just outside Columbus, Ohio, where we have a full field event, which I would consider overall of average strength. Golfers will try to win at Jack's Place. While this week isn't the Memorial, a legendary event honoring one of the best who have ever played the game, I'm still expecting a lot of good golf to be had this week. Muirfield Village Golf Club has been a stop on tour since 1976, with the course itself being designed in 1972 and opening in 1974. Jack designed this course with the desire to bring an elite golf course to his hometown and fell in love with this plot of land that features lots of hills and valleys. He's been messing around with the course every year ever since in order to keep it up to date with modern tour players and the sticks they carry in their bag. Let's break it down. Muirfield Village is a par 72 course that plays a hair under 7,400 yards. Depending on where the tees and pins are placed, we could see it get over 7,400 yards easily. It has 4 par 3s, 4 par 5s. The par 5s are all 1 through 4 of the easiest holes on the course, with the longest topping out right around 560 yards and the shortest being 515 yards. There are not any overly long par 5s on this course, and all offer a par rate around 50% and a birdie or better of 35 to 45%. Not really going to worry about the par 5 scoring this week. The par 3s are a totally different bag and feature 2 that are 180 to 190 yards, and the other 2 are up right around 210. 3 of the par 3s are in the top third hardest holes on the course, with a birdie or better under 15%, and only the 189-yard 8th hole offers a decent birdie or better percentage of 17%. They all have a par percentage right around 60, which tells us that par on the par 3s is a very good score. And with just about everyone scoring on the par 5s, par 4 scoring will make the difference this week. It's also worth noting that the last 3 holes on this course are very difficult. And come cut day, we have guys right on the cut line heading into them. There will be some hardcore sweating. 16, 17, and 18 are the second, fifth, and hardest hole on the course. Friday evening will be absolutely fucking brutal. But at least there isn't a stupid nickname for them this week. I like the Murfield Murderers. We can call them the Murfield or the Muirfield Maulers. Whatever, you take your pick.
Let's just continue with the breakdown.
It's a work in progress. We'll get to it. We'll talk about it later.
Well, you can talk about next week. Think of a name for next week.
There you go. I like Muirfield Maulers, but anyways. So from the tee box, we have heavily tree-lined fairways. They're actually pretty wide and relatively easy to hit. Driving distance and accuracy here on average. Driving distance and accuracy here is on average over the tour average on both fronts. If you watch the event this week, you'll notice how beautiful this course is from the tee box. Jack wanted to have a lot of accuracy off the tee, followed up with a strong iron game, and he sure got there. That's basically what this course is. It's tee to green and irons. There are a good amount of deep, nasty fairway bunkers and a lot of water in play here. You'll notice it is a shorter par 72, and looking backwards, accuracy off the tee is more important than distance by a decent margin. The rough here is nasty for the Memorial, but it sounds like it'll be trimmed down a bit for this event and then left to grow for next week. But obviously, you're still much better off staying out of the thick stuff. The same goes if you find yourself on the beach this week, as making par after finding sand off the tee is almost impossible here. Muirfield Village shares a name with another area in Scotland, known for its golf, also called Muirfield Village. And obviously, we know with Scottish link-style courses, deep pot bunkers are the norm for those courses. These approach shots are super important, and you not only need to hit these greens, but hit them in the right spot. The greens are mostly bent with a little bit of POA. They're smaller than tour average, and across the board, greens and reg and scrambling percentage numbers here are well under tour average. Greens slope heavily from back to front, keeping with the natural undulations of the landscape here. Approach shots that go over the green will result in a very difficult shot onto these greens that are typically very fast. We also have a lot of deep, nasty bunkers and water guarding the greens, and the greens themselves have lots of undulations, moguls, hills, and are multi-tiered. They usually play very fast, but I'm expecting them to dump a bunch of water on these surfaces to slow them down a little bit for this event, so we will see. Softer and slower greens should allow golfers to hold their approach shots on the surface better and lead to more putts as opposed to scrambles. And that is my course breakdown. Shakti, anything you want to add? Anything I forgot?
Yeah, the rough's supposed to be an inch shorter. Greens are supposed to be from a 13.5 slope rating down to an 11 slope rating, so much slower. Irons, ball striking, tee to green. That's my main things with some par 4, 450 to 500, opportunities, gains, and greens and regulation. Basically everything to the not so much driving accuracy for me this week, mainly irons. Irons. Yep,
and not even really putting. Like
no, I didn't
have lost strokes putting and won this event.
Short game, a little bit around the green, but yeah, irons are the key. You want someone that can hit the irons.
Hit the irons and hit them well and accurately.
Yeah, and that's what most of my plays are going to be about. Actually, all my plays is irons. Someone had to be good at irons. Irons.
All right, sweet. Let's get into it. 10K range. We have 6 golfers from Hideki Bot at 10K up to JT at 11-1. Pretty tight range this week. This 6 guys with an $1,100 price difference. Pretty tight. So who do you like? Who are you off?
A lot of these guys are really close. So for ownership wise, it looks like Cantlay, Matsuyama, and JT are going to be the 3 highest at above 20 as of right now, and then the other 3, Rahm, Koepka, and Schauffele, are going to be around 15. So they're super chalky to just low own for above 10K. But I'll go with Cantlay, even though he's only playing one event. He came in 11th He gained strokes in every category and gained 5.1 strokes gained putting. Over his last 12 rounds, he's 7th in approach, 11th tee to green, 20th in ball striking. In his last 12 rounds at this course, he's 1st in tee to green, 1st in ball striking, 1st in approach, and 1st in total strokes gained. He will be chalky, but I'm willing to eat the chalk with those numbers. Then I'll go with Koepka. Matsuyama is this, you can play Matsuyama. He's a great iron player and all that. It's just I don't want to play. I was going to go with one high-owned guy and one low-owned guy because Brooks Koepka can win any event if he feels like it. He was only playing 2 events because he had to withdraw at the Travelers right before it started because his caddy had tested positive and then didn't play last week because you got to give it 2 weeks. But in his 2 events since the break, he's T32nd and then T7th. His irons at Charles Schwab, he lost 4.9, but then lost 0 strokes, gained 0 strokes, and his irons at RBC. So dramatic increase there. And hoping if his irons can get back to form, his putting has been lights out. Even if you want off the tee, that's been great. His irons hopefully trending in the right direction. And then I considered Rahm, but his numbers have been terrible. Schauffele has had 1 amazing event, then 2 terrible ones. So at least Koepka was trending in the right direction while those 2 were trending in wrong directions. For me. And that's it.
That's your range. Yeah, I mean, the 2 cash plays from up here, which I think are more viable. It's more viable this week to take a guy from up here because we only have 4 golfers in the 9K range, which is pretty wild. Pricing's just been very oddly grouped this year. But, yeah, the 2 cash plays are Cantlay and Matsu. I think if you kind of compare everyone in the 6K range from their stroke gained approach from the however many events they've played since the tour picked up, I think Matsu's really been the best iron player out of this group. It's close, but he's gained strokes in both events. It's only been 2, yes, yeah. But I mean that's what Matsu does. He's irons and off the tee, and his putting is fucking atrocious. And his putting's actually been moving.
There's no trends with him.
Well, yeah, I mean it's been moving. His putting
-6, lost 6, lost 5.2, lost 2.3. All right,
yeah,
we're almost to 1.
The game we play with Matsu is what's going to be the least worst. Hopefully, Bent is his least worst putting surface. So, yeah, I'm just scrolling through here, just double checking, and I
have no problem with Hideki. He's an amazing iron player. In his last 12 rounds at this event, 71st in putting.
Which, I mean, is actually not bad for Hideki.
Well, that's almost making the cut for putting.
Yeah, that's middle of the field, so I'll take it.
That's good. No, that's all you want to... If Hideki gains 0 strokes, and his irons are on point, Hideki's top 10.
Yep, absolutely. So, yeah, I guess you could argue that JT's been a little bit better on approach, but,
But,
so, yeah, and then Cantlay. I mean, obviously, I love Cantlay. Obviously, he won last year.
Yep.
There's that. And, I typically try to avoid playing guys who are defending their titles because the previous champion tends to have a lot more.
But he's not defending a title.
Well, okay. Okay. Fair enough. Next week.
So if he wins this week, I can't play him next week.
Well, that's 2 different. That's the most recent winner and last year's winner all at once. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Him winning it last year, him winning a separate event at the same course, and then him winning it again and back to back.
I mean, that's like the new Tiger Slam. That's crazy. But, I mean, anyways, yeah, I mean, Cantlay, this course should fit him super well. Yeah. I mean, he's great tee to green, good ball striker, good on approach. Putting is, But, yeah, for me in this range, it's Matsu, it's Cantlay. That's it for cash. If you want to get weird in GPP, you play Xander. I think Xander's going to be pretty low owned out of this group. You know,
they're all about the same. It's either the 320% guys or the 315% guys, basically.
yeah, I think when ownership actually comes out, I think Xander's going to be down there quite a bit.
I think Rom will be less owned than Xander
because he looked, and then Rom. I always like Rom. I'm always a Rom mark. I'm not doing it in cash, but for GPP, I think he can certainly find stuff with his irons. He can certainly ball strike with the best of them. He's first in this field on these long par fours. So in the last 50 rounds. So yeah. So for GPPs, for me, it's Rom and Schauffele, and then cash is Cantlay and Matsu. I'll drop it in the 9K range, real quick, because there's only 4 golfers in here, so not a ton to choose from. For GPPs, for me, probably gonna be Fowler, probably gonna be Ricky. I know. I'm not gonna talk about it though, because I'm gonna let you
talk about GPPs, and you're the cash guy. Let me take Fowler. I was on Fowler last week.
No, that's what I'm doing. I'm just mentioning it. And then for cash, for me, it's Hovland. Hovland over Morikawa. It was tricky for me. It was I pined over it at length. And he grades out a little bit higher in my model. I mean, slightly. It's 3 versus 6. So it's not a ton. But I think, Morikawa with his putting. I mean, we know what Morikawa's deal is. I mean, he's just
the same as Hovland. They're the same player.
Yeah, I just worry. I worry a bunch about the last 2 starts where he's lost strokes in areas that he's normally very good at. And that's concerning to me. Whereas Hovland has been far more consistent. All 4 events he's played, he's done exceptionally well in. Either top 20 or his worst was a 23rd. So he's still a monster tee to green, still a monster on approach. And I feel more comfortable in cash with the consistency of Hovland than I do over Morikawa. If you need to save $300, sure, you can play Morikawa if you want. But yeah, for up here, for this 9K range for me, it's going to be Hovland. And that's that. So, your turn.
Yeah, I'm going Morikawa. For the ownership, not so much price, the ownership decrease on him and all that. And it's like he's had a week off. Well, he said miss those 2 cuts, got a week off, get his mind right. Well, Hovland's played 4 straight weeks. He is young, but eventually it takes a toll on you. I have no problem. I play Hovland basically every week. I might avoid him this week. I don't know. But
what do you call
him? Victor Hovland.
What is that his name? Is that what you call him?
Yep. And then I'll go with Ricky. Came back with a performance last week at T12. He could have come top 10 if he didn't have like a piddling second day. But after missing 2 straight cuts, had a good week. His putting gained strokes for the first time since the break. Irons got better each event, with gaining 0.3, 0.9, and gaining 2.6 strokes gained last week. At this course, in the last 12 rounds, he's 3rd in total strokes gained, 5th tee to green, 11th in ball striking, and 16th in approach. With his irons and putting coming back to life with these numbers at this course, and is probably, I'd say he's going to be the lowest owned in this 9K range, and maybe one of the lowest owned in this 9 and above range. So I'll give me some Ricky this week.
Yeah, I'm with you. So let's take us in the 8K.
I'll take it. So the 8K is Sungjae Im at 8,900 all the way down to Bubba Watson and Fitzpatrick at 8,000. But I'll start off with Joaquin Niemann. When there's irons in play and you don't need much putting and off the tee isn't a huge deal, then Niemann is my guy. In his last 12 rounds, he's 6th in approach, 9th in ball striking. Hasn't lost strokes on approach since the Open Championship last year, which was July 21st of last year. At this course, in his last 8 rounds, or his only 8 rounds, is 16th in ball striking and 12th in approach. Putting over his last few weeks has been a problem, but at this course, in those 8 rounds, he was 8th in putting. And putting's not a huge deal, so still need to be able to putt, but at least he's shown the ability in a smallish, medium samples, 2 full event sizes that he can putt here. Then I go with Mark Leishman. Irons, Leishman's an iron guy. And his only 2 events in the break, he's gained 3 strokes in approach both times. Not good results with a miscut in the T58, but his putter is on down, and it's usually a good putter. Mark Leishman's not a bad putter. It's usually putter and irons with Leishman. In his last 12 rounds at this course, 16th tee to green, 24th in ball striking, 40th in approach, and 7th in putting. His putter comes back to life, and with his irons, he could definitely find himself a good finish this week. And then I'm assuming you have Gary Woodland.
I do not.
Oh, you do not? Well, Gary Woodland. What is Gary Woodland amazing at? Irons. One of the best iron players. Hasn't shown it yet since the break, but I'm assuming it's going to come soon. In his 3 events since the break, he has gained, well, in one event he gained 8.8 strokes in his first again on approach, 2.7, and lost 1.9 at the Travelers to miss the cut. At this course in his last 12 rounds here, he's 12th in the approach and 18th in ball striking. If Woodland's back on his iron games, then he's in contention at this course with how it sets up for his game. And then I talked to you about the pre-show. My boomer bust guy is Jordan Spieth. And I'll tell you why. Low own projection. Never suggest him, you know it. But his irons, in the 3 events that he has played in since the break. First event lost 1.4 strokes, but then gained 0.3 at the next. And then at the Travelers, his last event gained 3.2 on approach. And his putter has lost strokes at both of those events, which he's one of the best putters in the world. I expect his putting game to come back, and if his irons game continue to trend this way upwards, or just if he gains 3 strokes on approach this week and his putter just comes back to if he goes back to his top 5 putting game and has 3 strokes on approach, at this low of ownership, I'm willing to take a stab on it with at least he's showing life with his irons. So out of 8K guys, those are my 8-9 players. Those are my 4 guys: Neiman, Leishman, Woodland, and Spieth.
All right, yeah. I will say that I'm with you on the leash. He is in my cash write-up this week as a play for cash. Yeah, everything you said. Irons and putter. You know, that's our boy Leishman. You know, he's won on tour this year. He has a pretty good history here. Last 5 years, 5th last year, T62nd, T15, T11, T5. So in the last 5 years, he's got 4 top 15s, 2 top 5s, and 1 kind of off year. But yeah, good history. Irons, putter, definitely on the leash. I'm actually off Sungjae this week. He might be a GPP play for me, but for cash, I just haven't. The last 2 weeks, he hasn't looked right. I haven't seen that out of him. He hasn't really done anything overly fantastic, and this is probably where he will win. I'm not on him, so go figure. But you know, he's lost strokes on approach each of the last 3 weeks. So that's concerning to me. That's very concerning to me because that is not Sungjae. His putting has gotten a lot better, but his approach is just moving completely in the wrong direction. Even his tee to green game these past 3 weeks has not been anything spectacular. Not like Sungjae that we know and love. So, and honestly, I think he missed the cut of the RBC and then finished, he made the cut, but finished in the top, 50. And he had to gain a ton of strokes around the green, and he was able to do it. But that's the only thing that stopped him from missing the cut was around the green game. And I don't really want to rely on people's around the green game here. I'd much rather just play the guys that I think can hit their irons onto the green. So, yeah. Spieth, no thank you. Especially if we're going to talk cash. No Spieth for me. No thank you. I know I always talk Matt Kuchar, and I love Matt Kuchar, but I can't do it this week. We talk about cash game Cooch, but I don't really have anything else, any other reason to play him except just to blindly regurgitate cash game Cooch, and that's not really a good reason to play someone. So
not the way he's played.
No, absolutely not. So I will be all over Joaquin the Dream Neiman at 84. Absolutely. He's playing great. Looks good. Grades out well in the model. He's a super fair price. Love Joaquin. Woodland might be a GPP play for me, but I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be able to get there in cash. He just didn't really jump out to me. He didn't really excite me. Miscut of the Travelers kind of let me down. His T to green the last 2 weeks, or last 2 events rather, has not been good. And I think they were much easier courses than this one. So I'm waiting to see him, get something right again. But then Hadwin. I'm definitely going to go back to Hadwin. He played very well last week. Grades out super well in the model again. His driving distance is not great, but you don't need that here. Driving distance is not overwhelmingly important. Super good on these long par 4s. He's playing really good golf. He's getting a little chalky, but that's fine. He's made all 3 cuts in all the events that he's played since the tour picked back up. And he hasn't really lost strokes anywhere except for around the green, which, again, I'm not really caring too much about this week. So definitely going back to the Canadian. Matthew Wolff, who got a $1,300 price jump in a better field at a harder course. That's going to be a big no from me.
Yep.
Okay.
1 week does not change my mind on him.
No, absolutely not. He is a GPP play. He's boom or bust. That's what we get out of Matt Wolff. And then my last cash play from this range is going to be Fitzpatrick. Again, just a solid overall player. His driving distance number sucks, but it doesn't really matter here too much. Obviously, length is always an advantage, but, missed the cut of the Travelers, which was unfortunate. Lost strokes on approach, lost strokes tee to green, but, I like him coming back here this week. He played here once last year, T68, nothing fantastic, but at least he's seen the course before. We know he's a solid player. We know he's traditionally a good approach player. We know he's good off the tee, and we know he's a good putter. What?
What? No, go ahead.
Oh.
It wasn't you.
Okay. And yeah, he didn't really putt well at the Travelers, and tee to green wasn't great, approach wasn't great, and putting wasn't great, and that's all very unlike him. So I like him to putt well on these small greens. I like his iron play this week, so Fitzpatrick is my last cash play in this range. And then I'll dip down into this 7K range real quick. Let me start it off with the Streelman.
Oh.
Streelman the Steelman. What? Am I stealing all your plays?
No, hell no. That was him.
You don't like Kevin Streelman this week? You probably like Benny on.
Yep.
So Streelman, one of the highest total strokes gained at the Memorial, at least, in the last 5 years. Gained almost 40 strokes over the field here in the last 5 years. 4th last year, 44th in 18, T13, T8, T18. So he knows this course well, and he plays this course well. He also is coming in with a little bit of form, I would say. He grades out decently well in the model. He's in the top 30. Nothing fantastic, but nothing overly terrible. Just a pretty solid all-around game. And, yeah, we saw him pop at the Travelers with a 2nd place after a couple missed cuts. Looks like he got his game right, gained a ton of strokes tee to green, ton of strokes on approach, and putted just absolutely lights out. So I like him to carry that momentum into this week. Of course, that he knows, that he's familiar with, that he's historically played very well at. Scotty Scheffler, really glad we dodged that bomb last week.
Well, I play in one lineup. Well, he shoots 7 over and then shoots 7 under.
Yeah, and I think people are going to look at that and be like, I might play him this week because he has upside.
Well, it's like, dude, if you would have shot even, you probably could have potentially won this event by the way you shot that second day.
Yeah, seriously, could you imagine? Anyways, no Scheffler. Not even going to go there. Next up on the cash game list is going to be Damon. Joel Damon. What?
That guy in chat's like, is Streelman allowed to use his walker on the course?
He's not that old.
He looks it. He also said Chase Koepka will be top 10. You heard it here first.
Oh, God. All right. So, some fire takes in chat. Chris Cox, I am interested. I am super interested. I am here. Just sometimes when Shockey talks, it does something in my brain. So
what makes it better?
Yes, it makes my brain better. Yes, that's what happens.
Words hurt.
Talking to me about betting on fucking video games before. Anyways, Damon. Yeah, playing super well.
That man.
Damon. Old Damon. Playing pretty well. Made all the cuts since the tour picked up. Tee to green's been great. Approach's been great. Putting's been pretty solid overall. I wouldn't say it's been great, but it's been pretty good. So definitely love me some Damon. Played here last year, T68, nothing fantastic, but he made the cut, so that's nice. Moving on, I mean, Connors is always a GPP play. Looks like he's kind of found his putter stroke a little bit. He's been putting. What?
No, he hasn't.
Okay. He went from like -6, -3, -2.6 to like -. He gained stroke from Charles Schwab.
Yeah. Then went back to losing.
Well, yeah, then he lost 1.9 and missed the cut. But
yeah,
I digress. He's always a good GPP play because he can always putt decently well. He's first in this field, greens in regulation, 8th in approach, 4th in ball striking. So Connors is always a GPP play for me. Kokrak, he's probably another GPP play for me. I actually played him in cash here last year, and I didn't hate myself for it. He's 62nd. He grades out reasonably well in the model. He's got no red numbers. Everything's pretty solid. Driving distance is good. Greens and reg is good. Tee to green's good. Ball striking is good. I'm a Kokrak mark. That's for sure. He should be pretty low owned. He flashed at the Charles Schwab and then missed a couple cuts because he just forgot how to putt, apparently. So I'll play the putting game, that's for sure. Moving on down here, HV3, another guy. If he can just putt, I think I played him last week and didn't hate it. So call that a win. But I'm gonna go down here to Russell Henley. That's 7,300. Really?
Nah, I didn't think you'd have him.
Why not?
Just because he's so risky. He's not a cash game play.
Dude, it's low 7K. What more do you want?
Go pick someone else. go pick Tringali. Same damn price. He's way safer.
I feel like we caught a break with Tringali last week, and that's...
No, his irons were there, and his putting was there. Well, his putting wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. His off the tee sucked, but you didn't need it. He came in 30th. His chipping was good. I mean, that's Tringali. He's not an off the tee guy. He's usually a decent putter with good irons and good around the green. He did what he needed to do.
I wasn't expecting that large of a rebound after the Travelers, and that gives me a degree of concern. Like, is he going to find like a middle range between how awful he played at the Travelers versus?
That was his first event of the break since the break.
Yeah, but that's not an excuse. We've seen people come out of breaks.
Three. Yeah, but some people don't. Some people are different. 3 strokes on approach. If you look through it, that's about what he is. Like 3 straight weeks, that's 3 strokes at approach. He's gets 4s, 5s. About 3 is like 2 to 3 is about his average, and he did his average.
Yeah.
He exceeded at his chipping game, but kind of below his mark on his putting. So, hand and foot.
I mean, I wasn't going to not mention Tringali either.
Okay, so you're mentioning him? You just want to take Russell Henley. Go ahead. No, mention Russell Henley. Go ahead.
We can't just play one guy at 7,300. Like, you can play two people.
No, there is other people at 7,300. You just took the one guy I wanted.
Yeah, I did that on purpose because I knew you were going to like him, and I did that just to mess with you.
Yep, I knew it. Go ahead.
Anyway,
your thoughts.
Missed the cut at the RBC, which, whatever, it was his first event back, and then rebounded at the Travelers with almost 10 strokes more gained tee to green at the Travelers than at the RBC. Same thing with approach. He just putted like complete dog shit at the Travelers, which is not really his norm. He's usually a passable putter. He's usually a decent putter. He just does not putt well in POA. That's his deal. So, super good tee to green, super good on approach, both of which I think the 9.1 tee to green and the 8.2 approach are more closer to average Russell Henley than the negative strokes gained weeks. Super good on approach, good at greens and reg, good ball striking, good from long distance proximity, good tee to green. Did I miss anything? He's played this event a couple times, 3 times in the last 5 years, missed cut. T29, T33.
Yeah, also, that's a stronger field than what this is.
Yes.
There's also 36 more people, so you could kind of even it out.
So, yeah, and honestly, I'll take a T29 out of 7,300 Russell Henley. I'll take that with a smile on my face. So, yeah, and then we have Tringali. He's been in my cash write-up a couple times the last couple weeks. He's just, he's everything Shockey said. I don't know. He grades out well in my model. Driving accuracy is a little concerning. Long range proximity is a little concerning, but it looks like he was able to fix some of those things last week. Approach is solid. Scrambling's really good. Let's hope he doesn't have to scramble too much this week, but if he does, it shouldn't kill him. Should be pretty low owned again. And my only real concern is his putting. Bent is one of his worst surface out of the 3. But if he can stay solid around that 0, -1, +1 range, I'll be pretty happy. Let his approach and his tee to green carry him. And then I'm gonna round out this 7K range in cash with a name you're not gonna like.
Let's see if I have him.
Emiliano Grillo.
Holy shit. That's not a fucking cash play, and you know it.
I might do it this week.
Well, the numbers suggest that he is, but I mean...
It's so funny looking at his recent events. 39, 60th, miscut.
But if you look at it, he's improved. Look at his putting last week. He only lost 0.7 on putting last week. His best in 10 events.
I have 0.4 putting.
What is it? Unless I just...
I don't know.
No, it's not loading, but go ahead.
Yeah, anyways, Grillo is another guy who's usually very good tee to green and very good on approach and is just god-awful at putting. Luckily, Bent he's actually gained strokes historically putting on Bent. So
in his last, instead of saying it later, in his last 12 rounds at this course, 16th in putting.
Yeah, something about this course. He's played here 4 times in the last 5 years. T9, T23, T40, T11. At 7,200, I'll take that T40 with a smile on my face. I'll take a made cut.
And it's not it's his irons, he hasn't lost stroke. It's not his irons. It's rarely his irons. It's always his putting, and basically everything else. You never worry about his irons. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Which is this course. I mean, it's an irons course. He's 4th in this field on approach, 11th in driving accuracy, 7th greens and reg, 5th in ball striking, and then 94th in driving distance, 153rd scrambling. He's the 2nd worst scrambler here. So let's hope that doesn't happen. And he's pretty bad on the long par 4s. but he's good at long proximity ranges. So we'll see which one of those comes out this week. It's risky, but this is the low 7K range. I don't know what else you want from me this week. So that's the 7K range for me for cash. If there's any GPP plays that you mention, then I'll chime in too. But yeah, take it away.
Okay, Obi Corey Connors. I mean, irons are his thing. His putter can sometimes be there, but he's just a great iron play. Since the break, his iron.
One time won.
What?
That one time that he won.
Yeah, no, he can gain strokes putting.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Like, he's better than Grillo at putting, I'll tell you that.
Well,
that's not saying much, but he is.
Yeah.
But since the break, he's gained in 3 events, 3.7, 3.4, and 2.4 in approach. Like I said, his putting will be a problem. Over his last 12 rounds here, over his last 12 rounds in general, just last 12 rounds, he's only played like 4 rounds here. But his last 12 rounds, he's 4th in approach, 4th in ball striking, and 10th in tee to green. He's hit the second most greens of regulation in that span as well. Just lose less than what, if he can do better than 1 stroke loss putting, he should be fine and have a good weekend, actually. They've been on. Hasn't done well in his 2 events since the break, with a miscut on T46 though. But as you know, he's a good iron player, great iron player at times. At this course in his last 12 rounds, he's 4th in tee to green, 5th in ball striking, and 5th in approach, and had some of his best around the green and putting numbers here as well, compared to his average numbers or his recent numbers. I'm just hoping his irons come back. And if you didn't notice, he tweeted out, he's been on Twitter a lot lately, just saying random things. It's not even bashing people. He said he added the PGA Tour, and he's like, don't make the any holes longer or anything. Bryson DeChambeau is like not one of us or something like that. And then he had something engraved on his putter and said, someone said this to him, and he engraved it on his chip, on his gaff wedge or something. Did you see that? Benny on looks like he's putting with glass eyes.
Yeah, I saw that.
So maybe that will change his mind about his putting.
Brooke Koepka there called out DeChambeau
for steroids or something.
Yeah, the steroid from eastbound down.
Yeah. But then my next guy after Ben on is Emiliano Grillo. Not only is iron player is great, in his last 12 rounds here, 11th tee to green, 21st in ball striking, 13th in short game, 9th in off the tee. Actually, approach is his worst, which was 43rd, 26th in chipping, 16th in putting, 11th total stroke gain. He loves this course. And he's coming in with his best recent form in a while, with 2 made cuts, and he's got a top 40. So he's all fired up for this event. Then Russell Henley, he can be the best iron player in any given weekend, and that's what I like about him. His potential for irons is the best. It's just, what are we going to get out of him? He'll have very few weekends where his irons will kill his game, but he needs his irons to do amazing for him to have a great finish. If they do decent, he can have a good finish, and his putter can sometimes be there. HV3, same thing, just not as good as the other ones, with good iron player. Hitter lately has been missed with a putter, but he can have a decent putter weekend. His upside isn't great, but he can get you a top 30. It's just, other than that, I don't think he has much more than that, but 7,500, that's fine for me. Then I go with Max Homa. Not great recent for him since returning, missed 2 cuts and a T41st. But he's gained strokes and approach in his last 2. Putting has not been there has lost strokes and putting in 2 of the 3, all 3 events. I forgot to write that down. But in the 5 events before the break, he did gain strokes putting in all 5 of them before the break, and then has lost putting strokes in all 3 since the break. But he's usually not. He can have really bad putting weeks, but usually just your average putter where he can gain you a couple or lose you a couple. He's back and forth. But I like his irons 7,100. He can do something here. He has been good at this course, 4 rounds. He's so it's like one event. But he's 18th in approach, 26th in ball striking, 73rd in putting, so the average putter. Then Bud Cauley, just a low-owned Bud Cauley. In his 2 events since the break, at T29th and a missed cut. In his last 12 rounds, he's 18th in approach, 21st tee to green, 41st in ball striking. He's a good, decent putter as well. In his last 12 rounds at this course, he's 10th tee to green, 16th in ball striking, and 18th in approach. He's a flyer play that I think has top 30 potential. So it's Connors, Bennion, Grillo, Henley, HV3, Homa, and Cauley for me.
Take us into the 6K.
6K. This was, usually I can find some 6K guys that I love. This was garbage.
Yeah, this
was garbage. So I'm picking my top guy, Henrik Norlander. What?
Go on.
Henrik Norlander, in his 3 events since the break, he has missed cut a T42nd and a T12th. He hasn't lost strokes in approach in any of the events, while gaining a ridiculous 8.3 strokes last week on approach. Even with back-to-back cuts made, his putter has been bad. Normally not a great putter, but can have some decent weeks. If he keeps up this iron play, he might just do it for you. Matthew Nesmith. Good old reliable Nesmith. He's a better putter, but doesn't have the upside as Norlander with his irons, but has a more consistent putter. I'd say he's definitely a better putter, just not as good with the irons with the upside, and that's Nesmith. And I'll go back to Hoji. You screwed me last week, but I don't know. There was so bad, I might as well go with a guy I like, who can hit his irons, and is not a terrible putter. He would have done better, but he was, after 1 round, he was 150th in putting. Didn't get much better, but he was good on approach. Irons aren't his problem usually. In a small sample size round of 4 rounds here, he's 8th in approach, 15th in ball striking, 12th in putting. My last guy, this is a course play, Jason Duffner.
I was going to sneak him in.
No, you weren't sneaking a pass at this course. In his last 12 rounds here, 2nd tee to green, 2nd at ball striking, 2nd at approach, 6th in total strokes gained. He has made 2 or 3 cuts since the break. Not expecting anything amazing, but with those numbers, I'll take a Jason Duffner who I never play. So there you go. I took one of your plays finally.
Actually, you did name 2.
What, Nesmith?
No, I was like, I was meh on the Smith. Norlander.
Oh, I thought the way you reacted, I thought you didn't like him.
No, but you didn't take my main guy in the 6K range.
I'm about to look him up just to see why he's so terrible.
Harry motherfucking Higgs.
That's why you don't play Harry Higgs. He sucks. He sucks.
He makes the cut. He makes the cut, except that 1 week where he missed it. But,
okay, so that 1 week.
And he sucked on the weekend at the Ryan Mortgage. He played god fucking awful on the weekend.
I'm gonna look up his 4th.
He shot like 7 or 8 over on Sunday, I think. He played fucking awful. But he makes
I was looking at that. I didn't look at much, but I did look at that.
He makes cuts. Another guy. So, I mean, my 2 cash plays, quote unquote, Norlander and Higgs. If you want to get a little weirder, you will never in a million years guess who I have on my mind.
Wait. Sorry, say it again.
You will never in a million years guess.
Oh, your final guy?
Not my final guy, just a GPP play, not really cash, but a guy I'm
like super cheap or no?
Yeah, like mid-range, mid-6.
Carlos Ortiz or Brandon Wu?
I do like Wu a little bit. I did dig into Wu a little bit. Good young golfer, played at Stanford. He's done decently well on the tour.
I think he played at the U.S. Open last year too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
he did. Yeah, 35th.
Yeah,
he's made 5-6 cuts, but I mean, I don't know. He's an unknown.
Why would you play Wu, who has no form coming in, when you have a cut-making machine like Harry Higgs right below him?
Oh, yeah. I'll take the talent in Brandon Wu over Harry Higgs.
I mean, Harry Higgs has a tour card. Brandon Wu doesn't. That's all
Brandon
I'm
Wu
saying.
has a college education.
So does Harry
better.
Higgs, man. He is the
What,
master of the 4-button polo.
Yeah,
That man has the 4-button
It is
polo. No one you've ever seen before.
Okay, if I had to get Sun Kang.
Nope. You ready?
Ah.
Higgs is outright fat. Yes, he is. Russell Knox.
God, no. Oh, God. It's like,
Break
of all
the
those
streak
people,
at
he's
some
been
point. You
so
gotta
bad.
break the streak at some point. Something's
No,
gotta give.
he's on a down spiral.
Something's gotta give. Russell Knox is not this bad of a golfer.
No, he's not, and I'll agree with that. It's just for my sake, he has no upside. He's not that. He's too cheap. Yeah, I get it for cash. I get it as a cash play.
This is not cash. I'm done talking about cash. This is
okay. Then no. He is. Oh my God.
Russell Knox.
I think I looked up him at this numbers here because I looked at his name.
Dude, he has missed 8 cuts in a row. Something's got to give.
No,
and
his life's over.
None of his numbers have been overwhelmingly terrible.
Well, no, they've all been bad. Like, it'll switch sections. Like, oh, his irons are good, but his putting sucks, and his putting will be decent, and then his irons suck, and it's off the team game, and it's just all switching bad. He cannot put 2 or more things together in 1 week.
Yeah, I don't know what is wrong with him right now, but he's done well here in the past. Last 5 years, he's made every single cut. T27, T44, T65, 64, T18. Something's got to give, man. At some point, just as when people are making cuts, something's got to give at some point. When people keep missing cuts, something's got to give at some point. Hey, we've seen lately, if you just get guys that make the cut, like, you do well. Russell Knox is super risky, and I don't overwhelmingly endorse playing him because he does seem to be in a bit of a spiral downwards. But
no. A spiral downwards is missing 2 or 3 cuts in a row. He's missed 8. There's you can't get much farther down than 8. Even at some point, Smiley Kaufman, who can't even break top 100. Okay.
You can miss 9.
He's in Smiley Kaufman territory where he can't make the top 125.
He's one on tour. He's a
wow.
Not even min price KJ Choi has missed 8 cuts.
So Vijay Singh has. Are you playing Vijay Singh?
No, his price feels like a trap.
6,000 for Vijay Singh. I need him to be 3,000 for me to play Vijay Singh.
yeah, he needs to just be free, just 0.
They should just have some of these people. Kevin Stadler, he's always funny.
Jerry Kelly.
Here. If you want a guy that doesn't make cuts and is cheaper, Kevin Stadler. There you go. He's missed 15 straight cuts.
Is that Kyle Stanley's twin brother?
No, this guy's fat and bald.
Oh, all right.
Kevin Stadler. He's a winner on tour. Should we play him?
Yeah, definitely.
He won the Waste Management in 2014.
Brian Gay's in this field.
Oh, yeah. I'm just going to make a lineup full of 6K guys that once won at one point in their lives.
Dude, there's upside. I see nothing but upside.
Big one. That is terrible information.
So, all right. I think that's going to do it for us.
It always gets way out of control in the 6K range.
Oh, Grayson Murray's playing. Do you think this course is near a high school? Well, around prom season for some reason.
That's CT Pan. I took a look at him, but no. Man. All right, Nation.
It's
so bad.
I think that's going to do it for us.
Oh, there's another guy where you click on his name and it goes to the error page.
That's awesome. That's so funny. PhD in Mountain Dew. Chase Koepka 6K. He's not a real golfer.
No, he's Brooks Koepka's brother.
Yeah, he's not a real golfer.
Don't worry, he's invited the Travelers next year since he withdrew.
Yeah, what a nice guy. All right, Nation, we're going to wrap it up here. We're done. We're off the rails. Check our articles out. We'll be dropping tomorrow with tons of Harry Higgs and Russell Knox fire.
Terrible.
It's going to be a week.
Don't even read that article.
This is gonna be.
If that has more than 5 views, I'm not writing an article next week.
I'm quit. I'm done. No, Russell Knox will not be in my article. It's a live stream only play. So, all right, Nation. You guys take it easy. Thanks for checking this out. We will catch you next week for the memorial from Jack's place. Installing just until I
Love Big Dick. And you know I love Big Dick.
And that's it. CK, take us out. Thank you.
All right. Peace.
Thank you, everybody.